Hello, welcome along to episode 126 of Adventures in Pop. My name is Simon Jacobs, and you are looking stunning as we get into the bank holiday weekend that marks kind of the end of summer, dare I say it, as we go into a new term and the kids go back to school and it becomes autumny and it gets dark early and it's basically very miserable. Anyway, let's talk about something fun. It struck me the other day that I haven't talked to you about internet radio, and I've been using this pretty consistently for quite a few years. So if you're looking to kind of understand, all the bits of my very, very sophisticated and complex marketing strategy, it isn't very either of those things, sophisticated or complex. It is worth spending a few minutes just talking about and reflecting on the value, if there is any, of internet global radio plays. And just in a nutshell, I've been doing this for a number of years. It's a service I pay for, and I guess, spoiler alert, I'm not sure to what extent it is valuable. I think that it's been quite interesting, but hard to say really whether it's, materially changed any of the decisions I've made. It might have done, I guess, once or twice. But I will explain all about it straight after this. So, I don't know, I must have come across this on an advert somewhere and thought, it's worth giving it a go. And basically, it's called Radio AirPlay. Your tracks, when you upload them, they like a sort of simple MP3 of your songs. There's nobody vetting them. There's nobody saying, "Oh, I don't think that's good enough quality," or "I don't think anyone's going to like that one." It's just completely up to you, and you pay something, I think, in the region of £30 for a month if you want to do direct debit, and then you can just keep this kind of rolling thing of having your music out there, and you can change the songs whenever you want to. You could put a song out for a day and then withdraw it if you don't like it anymore, or if you don't think people are loving it as much as you want them to. So you've got a lot of I guess, decision making to do about which songs you're going to put out there and how long for, and whether you want them to be heard quickly, in which case you use up all of your airplays rather fast, or whether you want a more slow approach. So as I say, about £30 a month, and when those airplays are gone, you wait until the same date of the next month for the £30 to pop through, and then you can get going again. There are a couple of things that are worth bearing in mind. One is that as you put the thing together, you are requested to choose, and it's obviously in your interest to do so, choose a whole bunch of artists that you think that people, who your fans might also like. So what they're trying to do is find some, like-minded, like-sounding other artists and sort of place you with them so that you're kind of in the right place, hopefully, to pick up fans who do genuinely like you and whoever this might be over here, Shakira or Rihanna or One Republic. I'm only mentioning those because I've just noticed them on the page. So I think I've probably picked about 40 very successful, of course, very, very successful artists from around the world, so that my music can pop up in places with those. And it always tells you, when you get these bits of information, it will say your song has been played alongside Sam Smith, for example, in Guatemala. It's quite weird, isn't it? I mean, it's kind of fun. Your song has been played with a Shakira track in Mexico, or your song has been played, with Ed Sheeran in the Czech Republic. It's sort of like, really? Anyway, The thing that's interesting about this is that not only do your songs get played around the world, which obviously, I guess gives you a nice warm feeling, although what you do with the warm feeling, I think, is open to, question. But the thing that's, I suppose, significant about this and makes it possibly worthwhile is that people who are listening can sort of vote. They can choose to become a fan of yours. So, in other words, if they're listening and they hear a song by you that they really love, they can, demonstrate their engagement using all the important words now. They can demonstrate their engagement by, letting Radio AirPlay know that they really, really like that, and then that person becomes a fan of yours. If you get a bunch of fans during the week, then you might get some extra free airplays. That's always good fun. But most of all, what it does is it gives you some indication, although I would use it, with big pinch of salt and not take any of it too much, to heart or really literally. But it gives you an indication of whether people like one of your songs. Now, so what I do is I put brand new songs that I have just written that I'm thinking, I wonder if people will like this one, alongside maybe another one. So, in other words, I'm putting two out at a time so that I can compare the performance of one against the other. Often the two tracks I put out at the same time will have nothing at all in common with each other than I wrote them recently, and I just want to give them a go. And what you'll tend to get back then is after, say, 500 plays, it takes a little while for it to kind of settle into any pattern at all, but after 500 plays, you would hope that you've picked up one or two, maybe even three or four fans from that 500 plays of one song. Now, look, sometimes I get up to about 9 or 10. Sometimes it's 0. So there is quite a wide range of performance that I've been getting back, and it's interesting, even if not not that accurate, because look, here's the thing, there are billions of people in the world, and okay, so 500 people have just heard one of your songs and 4 of them like it. It's not a particularly representative sample of the entire globe, I don't think, is it? So interesting, maybe useful, but not to get too carried away with it, I think is the answer. Now look, over the years, I've been putting a lot of songs out there, and so it means that on a personal level, I'm just going to find the information here. I've amassed something like 350, 400 fans. Now, I can't tell you that all of those fans would even remember that they became a fan of mine. So if they did it 5 years ago, it's hard to know if they would still really count themselves as a fan. I think fan is probably slightly overplaying it. But I've got all those people who at some point have expressed an interest in the song they've heard, and then they go into this list. And what I can do through Radio AirPlay is I can send them all a mass email a couple of times a week, if should I so wish, which I mostly don't so wish. Occasionally, though, it has been useful to get in touch with all of them and say, hey, guess what? Thank you, first of all, for being a fan. I love you all without qualification. And second of all, I've got some new material out. Why don't you check it out? So that, I think, is worthwhile. I'm sure you want to convert your Radio AirPlay fans, or a few hundred of them, into, going over to Spotify and hearing your new material. That's kind of the idea of it, I think. So unlike Spotify, where you have no way of contacting or knowing anything really about any of the people who follow you on Spotify, and I've got 5,000 and something followers on Spotify, which is quite good, I think, but I can't communicate with them. So I mean, if you're one of them, I love you, but I can't communicate with you, can I? So it's very unhelpful. So this at least gives you a chance, in a rather generalized blanket sort of way, of sending an email and saying, hey, I appreciate it, and by the way, check out some new music. So what I do, as I say, is from time to time I put a couple of songs out at the same time, and and see how they do. Sometimes they don't do anything. Sometimes they do something. And I've just, before I made this video, I updated what was out there. That they'd run out of plays for this month, so they've just hit the point where they've got some new plays going through. So we've got another month just gearing up now. There are 2 tracks. One of them is called It's You, and I played that actually to you a few episodes back, brand new, and it's up against another pretty new one, probably a few weeks older, a song called Heartburn. And because I've already played you It's You, I might as well give you Heartburn, if you see what I mean. And we'll have a listen to that in just a few moments' time. It is a little early to say how It's You is getting on, because it's only been about half an hour. But I can tell you, if I go to Radio AirPlay right now, what I can tell you is quite fun. Here's the most recent plays of It's You and Heartburn. As I sit here now, I can have a look at this because this is the information it gives you. So, 8 minutes ago, It's You was played in a station with Sam Smith. There we go. I was joking about Sam Smith. Here he is, right here, in Delaware, United States. Heartburn was played in a station with Sia in Iowa, United States. It's You was played with Louis Capaldi in Japan. Heartburn was played with Rihanna in Colombia. It's You with Shakira in Mexico. Heartburn with Elton John in South Africa. So you get the picture. It's very much global, and it's slightly odd, isn't it? Then if I have a look, because it'll give me this, if I have a look at my fans, the ones who've said I like that song recently. Okay, so here are the ones I picked up recently. It's kind of in order of recent to oldest. There are 360 roughly of them altogether. Most recent is from the United States, Australia, United States, several of them from the United States, but also we've got Japan, Mexico, Ireland, South Africa, Nigeria, India, Guatemala, etc. So we are really talking, all the continents of the planet. And it's quite fun. It's quite nice. But as I say, don't take it too seriously. Don't get hung up on it. It might be worth a go if you've got lots of new music and you're trying to work out whether people might respond better to this one than this one. This is a good way of finding that out. So look, I'm going to leave you with the other song that is currently on internet radio somewhere in the world. It's called Heartburn. And I'll be back next week, because next week is the second new single from the new batch of songs. It is called Tongue Tied. And I'll be back, I'm sure, with a video and a little chat about Tongue Tied. It's going to be out next Friday, the 1st of September. And then shortly after that, I think a couple of weeks later, is the debut album from Goldhawk Foxes, Do Be Upstanding, for the debut album called We Are Goldhawk Foxes. That's very exciting. And there will be another Rothman and Jacob single coming up, probably end of the month, maybe beginning of October. And that looks likely to be called Didn't I Say? And I think it did. So lots of new music from me and from Goldhawk Foxes and from Rothman and Jacobs, all coming up. And I will leave you with one of the tracks that's being played, probably as we speak, somewhere in the world, thanks to radioairplay.com. And this is called Heartburn. See you next week. Bye-bye. So we landed at the party like 2 aliens arrived from outer space. And when I looked all around me, it was like I didn't know a single person in the place. So we opened up the back door and slipped outside unseen into the cool spring air. Oh, what the night might have in store, I could only dream, but with you beside
beside me, I didn't care. We ran downhill through empty fields to where a little stream flows, and I could still hear the party music play. Through the dark I could see shifting shadows in the windows, move to Roxy music, singing Dance Away. I didn't know how much I had to learn, all the passion and the pain they gave me, all to burn. For every joy there were tears in return, but I didn't know how the heart burned. Far away I could see the dawn would soon be coming, but right now we were lost in a swirling mist. Oh, I knew I'd spend my whole life running, trying to find a magic moment just like this. It was if I took a Polaroid and caused the image forever in my brain. Oh, I knew you would leave me feeling null and void, but at least I could always come back here again. We run downhill through empty fields to where the stream flows, and I can still hear the party music play. Through the dark I can see shifting shadows in the windows, move to Roxy music, singing Dance Away. When you're young it's so hard to discern all the highs and lows that give you on to burn.